I think a lot of people, when we talk about the resurrection, even just our Christian beliefs in general, especially non-believers, I really, before I looked at this as a 35-year-old, I thought there was no way you could even do such a thing. I didn't think these were the kinds of claims you could examine anyway. And everyone I knew who I met as a Christian, they really didn't take this approach. I thought, but doesn't everyone become a Christian by looking at all the evidence and testing the reliability of Scripture and looking to abductive reasoning and how? No one did that. I didn't know anybody who did that. Afterwards, I wondered, well, how does everyone become a Christian? I had a couple of groups in my life as a detective that I knew who would say they were Christians. It was either going to be a guy I worked with. I knew a couple of guys I worked with who were Christians. You know, our agency, there's not a lot of Christians. At least there were not a lot of Christians who would talk about their faith, or you would have known were Christians. Let's face it, law enforcement is one of those areas where you're asking for warriors to join the cause. And a lot of these folks, for whatever reason, our agency just were not believers. And the few that were, if I was to ask them, well, why is it true? Look, the same people who I would work with, if you ask them, can you make a case, give me 5 reasons why this guy is the suspect in our robbery series? Well, they could give you 10 reasons. Can you give me 5 reasons why you would trust anything the Bible has to say about anything? They couldn't give me 5 reasons. So I just thought this was, how do you apply such an evidential approach, where you're committed to the use of evidence to convict suspects in your professional life, but you're not willing to apply that to these big metaphysical claims that really matter more than anything else? The other problem I saw was that we knew a lot of Christians that we would take to jail who would tell us on the way to jail that they were Christians. So it kind of seemed like to me, as an atheist, the entire world was broken into 2 kinds of Christians. Christians who had no idea if it were or why it was true and couldn't make a case for it, or Christians who didn't act as though it was true. And I just didn't want to be a part of either one of those 2 groups. But I think as you learn the rules of evidence, things will become easier. I also will say this. We've already talked about why the Christian worldview is a uniquely evidential, rooted in history, rooted in an event in the past we can study. It's falsifiable, verifiable. We can actually examine the evidence for Christianity. That gave me at least some comfort to know I could begin an investigation and it might lead me somewhere. So that was good. Now, I'll tell you this. As a kid, I had a sociology teacher in high school who was Baha'i, and he gave me the writings of Baha'u'llah. If you read Baha'u'llah, you'll end up with their proverbial statements. They are beautiful statements, often really some great truisms. But there's no way to know if Baha'u'llah was who he said he was, because the claims of the Baha'i faith are not grounded in an historical event in the same way that the claims of Christianity are. So that's the beauty of what we're about to do.